Welcome to Moms Don't
So
Have
how are
Time to Read
you?
Books. Good. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine, thank you. Great to be here.
So, where in Nigeria are you?
I'm in Abuja.
Where is that in Nigeria?
Abuja is the capital, so we're right in the middle. It's the capital city. Well, it's in northern Nigeria actually, but so it's kind of in the middle.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, from around the world, here we go. um,
It's nice to be here.
oh, nice to be here with you. So, tell me about the big school, kids going to the big school. What made you want to write
Okay.
this book? Tell me the whole story of how you wrote a children's book, and why about this topic, and all the rest.
Okay. So first off, I've always loved reading. Voracious reader. But then when I started having children, I noticed that most of the books were I didn't see enough Nigerian characters, people of color, people that they could relate to, which was the same thing I had when growing up. All the books were either Enid Blyton or what's his name, the guy that wrote about the giants. Um,
Oh,
just the same books that I had read growing up. Yeah, the same books I had read growing up, and they were great books. Eric Kyle, um,
Roald
they were
Dahl?
they were amazing books. Roald Dahl, I was
Yeah.
thinking of Roald Dahl. I
Yeah.
love his books. So the same books I had read, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the same books I had read growing up. I wasn't seeing things by with African characters or Nigerian characters, and I was like, okay, I would like to tell a story that had things that they recognized: Nigerian food, Nigerian names, Nigerian skin texture. So that was this. I wrote it for my children, basically. I wanted my children to see a book where they had names and faces and events that they recognized. So, and then I thought of my earliest childhood memory was when I started, left kindergarten and started grade school. And for me, it was a big shock because I was leaving being a baby, because in kindergarten, in early years school, I had, you're still very little. You're like a child, you're like a baby. And then when I got into grade one, it was a bit scary because I thought they wanted us to all be grown up all of a sudden. And I just imagined that for other children, they would have the same issue, especially if they're changing to a new school, they were transiting to a different school, and they would be, so uncertain. And, for us in Nigeria, once you leave kindergarten to grade school, a lot of things change. You start wearing uniforms, you move to a different building, basically. So for me, I was like, I'm sure there are a lot of children who are wondering what it would be like to go to a different school and all the mix of emotions they would have, meeting new friends, having a new teacher, just dealing with so many new experiences all at once. And then there would be excitement as well. So that was why I wrote that book. I wanted to be able to relate to children, for them to be able to see something they could relate with, children who were Nigerian, children with Nigerian names, and then an experience which I think every child can relate with, and even every adult, because everyone has gone through that thing where you have to, get a new job or go to a new school or move to a new city, and you're just faced with like, oh, what is it going to be like? Will I like it? Will it be scary? Will I make friends? And that's really what that book was about. Just all those mix of emotions that everybody goes through when they're dealing with a brand new experience.
Well, it couldn't have come at a better time because my son, I have four kids, but my littlest guy is starting kindergarten in the fall, which sounds more like the
Awesome.
transition from K to first grade for you, and that it will be like
Yes.
a dress code and a new school and a bigger building. And I mean, who knows if school will even start in the fall anymore, but
I
that
know.
same, all of those feelings, it's so great to have a book. And obviously there are some other books that deal with back to school, but like you said, having new characters and having a new point of view, and the fact that kids in Nigeria have all are going through the same things, like people all over the world. Like, when you say to yourself, like, oh
Everywhere.
yeah, like I'm not the only one. People, I don't know, like if people all over the world, it's one thing to think that, but then to have an example of like another child in a school in Nigeria, just
Hmm.
it makes it all just seem so relatable, and then you don't feel so weird that you're all nervous yourself.
Exactly, exactly. We all have the same experiences. That's what I see. Everyone all over the world has their own example of that experience, but we all have similar experiences everywhere.
It's true. And even though everyone knows that, I think everyone needs to see it to have it hit
Yep,
home.
yep,
Just being able to
definitely.
think it is not enough. So, did your kids appreciate when you wrote it?
Oh, they did. And then I based the main character on my daughter. Her name is Olana. So I named her Lana after my daughter. And they were really excited to see it. They were super, super excited. And then the funniest thing happened. Other people were excited as well, because I didn't expect that. Like I said, I wrote it for my children. And I said, okay, my children will read it. A few friends' children will read it. Just a few people in my community would read it. But then I had people who I didn't even know, people who I hadn't spoken to in years were like, oh my God, we loved it. I put it on, it's on Amazon now. So people all over the world, basically, people in Canada, people in South Africa, people in the US, people in England, writing me to say, oh, I read your book, my child loves it. They could relate to it. They were transiting to grade school or kindergarten or whatever, and they could relate to this story, and it was just amazing for them. And it just went to places I would never have expected. I've gone to a different city. I've gone to different cities in Nigeria where I've been told to come and read, do book readings to children transiting, just to kind of prepare them for that next stage of school. So yeah, my children loved it, and a lot of other children loved it as well. So yeah, it's done really well, thank goodness.
Oh, that's great. What has it been like with your kids with the quarantine this spring, and like what is it like now?
Oh, they are tired of they are tired of online school. That's one thing I can say. They are tired of classes online. They are tired of it's just a bit too much for them. They're happy that mommy is home because I'm home 24/7 now. So that's the best part. They have mommy home with them all the time. I don't have to go to work. But I think everyone is ready to be able to go back to school to learn. Yeah, but for them, the best part has been just been having mommy and daddy here. I'm baking a lot. I'm in the kitchen a lot. I'm playing games with them. We're doing hopscotch and playing football together, and they're just happy to have me home. Yeah, so that's the
What
best part for them.
what was your job before? Like, what's your day job?
Okay, I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, so I work for the government. I work for a government agency, a government office, and I work in the legal department. So yeah, it was a busy 9 to 5 job. So basically, on a regular day, if I got home by 6 p.m., they would be happy. So just seeing me here every day is just like, oh my goodness, they come and give me hugs like every 1 hour, a
Oh,
new hug. Oh, mommy, I love you. Mommy, can you do, so that really it's going to be hard for them when I have to go back to work. But yeah, we're just enjoying the moment. We're living in the moment. We're glad. Like I told somebody, when you have family, you don't have that much to miss. So you think of people who don't have families, who have to be by themselves, who have no siblings to play with, or no family, no children or whatever. But I guess we're all making the best of it in one way or the other. Thank God for technology, so we can talk, do video calls and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's
and
been
so
good.
for your book, how did you find an illustrator? You didn't illustrate it yourself.
Oh, I did not. That was the hardest part. I was in England at that time. I was studying. I was trying to get. I was in grad school, what you guys call grad school in the States, and I was there with my two youngest children when I decided to write the book, and I kept on looking for an illustrator. And it was really tough. I was getting. I didn't even know where to start, to be honest. But luckily, I found somebody online who lives in where does he live? I think he lives in Vietnam. So, I discussed my ideas with him, sent him, the characters, descriptions, a lot of the things I wrote about. Like, he didn't understand the concepts, like, but he did really well. And we've done a second book, which he did amazing. And we're working on our third book. We'll still start working on our third book together. So yes, I found him in Vietnam, and he's really, really gifted. And it was just amazing having to, bring in these characters to life with him. Because like I said, I had to, the whole concept of, children with cornrows in their hair. He didn't understand any of that, but I had to show him lots of pictures and have lots of meetings with him, and he did a great job.
It's
He
so
did really well.
it's just so amazing to me that You thought of this idea in England. You wrote it in Nigeria. You collaborated with a man in Vietnam. And now you and I are on
Vietnam.
Skype, and I'm here in New York, and we're talking about your book that people read all over the world. It's just amazing. Like, I always think about the power of books to bring people together. And this is just such a great example of look at this and how your vision can make people feel better, like everywhere. I don't know. It's just the coolest. I just think it's the coolest.
Yeah, technology is amazing because really, like I tell people every night, I tell kids, you can tell a story in front of your friends at home, but when you write a book, it could go anywhere, literally anywhere in the world. And a lot of the books I read as a child were books like the classics, Little Woman, um, Jane Eyre's books, Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer. Those were books that were written somewhere in some corner, maybe in the US or in the UK, and people have read those books all over the world. So yeah, books are just amazing, really.
And so,
how they bring people together, and they just.
What are your next two books about?
Okay, so my second book is called A Fun Day in the Museum, and it's a series. So I still with Lana and her friends, and they go to see a museum. And in that book, I try to talk about history because in Nigeria there's a lot of children aren't taught history the way they should be. A lot of things are just glossed over. A lot of things, a lot of kids don't know about great people in our historical past who have done a lot for this country. So I try to bring up, our founding fathers in that book. I put their pictures there, spoke about our artifacts, spoke about, stuff that has happened in Nigeria, the civil war we had. So I tried to put all of that in the museum. So as the children were going around there, they were discovering stuff about their country. And the third book, which is still far from finished, the children go to the village. And just to give you an example of what it is to go to the village, I live in Abuja, which is a city where it's an urban city, but everybody comes from some village or the other. My father was born in some village down east, and a lot of Nigerians every year, either Christmas time or Easter time or some time of the year, they go to visit their village, and it's really rural, it's really rustic, and it's really lots of fun. It's really different. So growing up, I did a lot of that. Every year we went down to the village, to spend time with my grandmother. And I want to bring those memories alive for those of us who had those experiences. Nowadays, it's not as common. Children don't go to the villages that often. But for those of us that did, it was really, really a great experience for us. So I want to write about that, so that children can see what village life was like. Because it was really fun playing with goats, going to the stream. It was fun. It was really, really fun, so yeah. So that's what that book is about. And then just meeting up with, with your cousins who you haven't seen from all over the country and all over the world, because it was like a big, great homecoming. Everyone would come home for Christmas, and you would just see people that you haven't seen in years. So yeah, I'm really excited about that project. And then also I'm writing a book for women as well. Yeah, something different. I'm writing about a book. Well, actually, two books. It started out as one book, but I've had to make it two books now. I'm writing about women in history, who have done great things. Women like Amelia Earhart, women like Mary Slessor, who was a great missionary to Nigeria. Women who have just done amazing things over time, and the lessons we can learn from them. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that project. That book should be out in like another month or so. I'm really working hard on that to get it finished.
Wow, good for you. So this whole time of being at home has not affected your productivity in a negative way at all.
Oh, at all. It's been it's been a blessing in disguise for my writing, because when I'm at work full time, I'm more engaged with work, working as a lawyer. But now that I'm working, that I'm home, I don't get to do as much office work as I normally do, which I miss. But it's been a blessing in disguise, to be honest, because I've had time to catch up on all these projects, time to speak with you, on Skype, and just do other things that I really enjoy. Time to spend with the children and bond more with them, time to bake, and just it's been good. It's been a good time for me, to be honest.
And how do you come up with all the ideas for all of your different projects?
Oh, inspiration. Yeah, I think for all of us, our inspiration is from our childhood. For many people that write, it's stuff that has happened to you. So, like I said, for my first book, it was my experience, the rude shock I got starting, grade school or primary school, like we call it here, and seeing that I was now a big kid. All of a sudden, I had to wear a uniform, and I had to, you know, things just changed. So yeah, and then also my love for history inspired the second book. And then my love for just thinking back, on village life inspired the third one. And then for me, I do a lot of speaking to women, because I try to encourage women a lot because in our society, I think all over the world, women, once they start having children, they feel that, that's it. But I tell women there's so much more you can do. Yes, you can be a great parent, you can be a great mom, but you can also do stuff that you love as well, apart from parenting, apart from raising your children. So I just try to encourage them to look, whatever it is, whatever career path you want to do. Like you say, you don't have time to read, but you do have time to read. You can make time to do other things if you really want to. So I just try to encourage women. And with this latest book I'm working on for women, I've spoken about all these women who had so many things against them. They had, there were gender issues, there was race discrimination that they had to deal with. There were so many issues, but yet they were able to do those things that they dreamt of doing. So just to encourage women to be like, go for your dreams. You can do it. So yeah, so that's where my inspiration for my writing comes from. It's from things I like to inspire ladies to do in real life. Go for your dreams. Don't let motherhood look like something that is something negative. It's a beautiful thing. Being a mother should not make you be any less of a human being or not accomplish any other thing that you need or you desire to accomplish.
I think a lot of people need to hear that, so thank you for that. That's great. What are you reading? What do you like to read? What are you reading now? Any good books?
Oh, I'm reading. There's this book. The book I'm reading now is called Deborah, and like I said, I like being inspired by women as I inspire other women. So I'm reading about Deborah, who was a great judge in the Bible, and just reading about all the amazing things she did, how she went to war with these mighty men, and how she won. How basically if she hadn't gone with them, they would not have won that war. So yeah, I'm just reading stuff about inspiring people. And another book I just read recently, which was really amazing because I love history, was a book about sea women, some women in Korea, I think. And yeah, that was really interesting just to see how women were so strong, how they made a living and still had to come back and be mothers. So yeah, a lot of the books I'm reading are about inspiring women, basically. Yeah. So
love it. So what advice
I'm reading right now.
What advice would you have to aspiring authors?
Aspiring authors, your story is in you. You have your story right in you. You don't have to go searching for it. Think back, think of your memories, think of your experiences, think of those things that really touched you. When you were a child or even in adulthood. Think of those experiences that stand out to you, and you can tell a story from there. You don't have to copy someone's story. You can be original. We all have stories inside of us, hundreds of stories waiting to be told. So just think, what story would I like people to hear? What is that authentic story I have inside of me? And yeah, so that's my number one advice. Your story is in you. Think about it. And then don't be afraid to write. Your writing might not be perfect, but then we have editors. We have people who can help you, so just start writing, start today. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Start now.
Love it. I'm going to go right now. I'm going to just go. Now that you said that. No, I'm kidding. I don't have time to do that today, but I would like to. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you came on my podcast. I'm so glad we could connect across the world about our kids and books and the power of not feeling alone.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Oh my gosh.
So how's New York? How's New York? How are you guys doing?
Okay. I mean, I'm not in the city right now, so I haven't been to my home in the city now for, I don't know, 3.5 months or so I miss it. But I don't know. I mean, slowly going back to normal, itsy bitsy steps. I don't know. I don't know. I think the worst part is that,
It's over.
well, no, I think, yes, I think the worst part is over, but I think the worst part, the lingering side effects are that everybody looks at each other as though they could be the enemy in a way, right? Like you don't know who has coronavirus. And so people aren't,
That's the saddest.
that's,
That's the saddest part.
yeah.
I
Because
agree.
I'm like, I like to like hug people so much and, have everybody over and, be very well, I don't know. And now, I don't know. It's created this distance that when my whole thing is connection. So it's sad, saddens me, but that's the worst part. Other than that, my family is healthy.
Yeah.
My close friends, people who have had it are better. So, I don't know. How about you?
Yeah. I can totally relate. In my city, churches are open now, but I'm not going to church because, like I told my husband, the whole issue, going to church, going out and meeting people, you want to hug them.
Yep.
You want to say, how are you? And give them a great big hug. And nobody's doing that right now. And that just seems weird. And I can't, it's just a bit painful for me. So I would rather just stay home and wait it out a bit because, like you said, everybody is suspicious. You see your friend and you're like standing like, oh hi, hello, and that's just not me. I'm such I'm big on physical connection. I'm very social as well, and so that for me is the saddest part as well. It's just the other day I went out to get some groceries. I saw my very good friend, and I just said hi, and that normally I would give her a big hug, we would so I was sad I couldn't do that, but yeah, I'm hoping that things will slowly get back to normal. It might take time. But yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm just thanking God for all the opportunities I've had during this period. Thanking God that my family is well. Like you, I had a few people who were ill and they're all fine. I have family all over the world in the US, Seattle, Houston, MD, and everybody's fine, So that's something to be thankful for, that everybody's in good health. And I can't wait for this to be over.
Me too.
I really
well,
can't.
maybe one day you and I can get together in real life and give each other a hug. That would be very nice.
That would be awesome.
All right.
That would be great.
Well,
Thank
now we
you
have some
so much,
goals,
Zibby.
long-term goals. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, and this has been so nice. And thanks for sending me your book and for helping my little guy through his transition in the fall. To school. So thank you.
Thank you. Such a pleasure. I'm glad he liked it. I'm glad you liked it. And it's great to be able to talk to you. And thanks for all the great job work you're doing with authors and just getting women to read more. And it's pretty amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.